Fondation Jean-Jaurès.
Penser pour agir.
So we're very pleased to welcome you here in Foundation Jean-Jaurès, and you are a cartoonist, and maybe you could introduce yourself and tell us about what you do and what are your analysis of the general situation in your vast country.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. My name is Rachita. I am a political cartoonist from India. I'm based in Bangalore, just South India. And I run a webcomic called Sanitary Panels, which is a feminist comic that comments on society, culture, politics, issues such as queer rights, mental health, women's rights, etc. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm in France because I was speaking at the World Forum for Democracy. We had a panel that spoke about press cartoonists being in danger and the kind of the various forms of threats this profession faces. And I've been making my comic for 10 years now, and I've spoken about a wide variety of issues. But my specialty is current affairs, to see what's happening around us in the country and to comment on it and reflect how people feel about what's happening around them.
Do you think that cartoonists is in a way more efficient at writing articles because it looks very simple to make a cartoon and it can convey a lot of messages? Do you think it's more efficient?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, when I read opinion pieces, I was like, this entire thing can be one comic.
Yeah.
It can be one cartoon.
A big page, make one comic.
And it also engages people a lot easier. Words. So seeing so many words can be a bit daunting. Yeah. But seeing a comic is like much easier to, much more engaging. I say that, some people write, some people do podcasts, some people are anchors, but I personally like just to make a simple comic about an issue.
You call you a feminist cartoonist.
Yes.
Feminist in what sense? You think you are addressing women only? No.
No,
that's a theory, of course. Although 50%.
I call it a feminist comic because I'm a feminist and I'm making the comic. So everything that I am making is from the lens, is from a feminist lens. And we were discussing this in our panel in Strasbourg as well, which is that I think women cartoonists only make up 5% of all political cartoonists. So it is essential to have more, to give also women space to make more comics. And I am seeing more political cartoonists, women political cartoonists making work, and it makes me very happy because if we only have a male perspective, we are missing the perspective of 50%, like you said, of the world, of the population. So we need to have different identities making.
So you're tackling special issues as a woman?
Yeah.
More concentrating on women issues, Indian women population. The world?
I do a combination of topics, but I feel like because I'm a woman, my perspective comes from a population that is generally not, their perspective is not seen. So I think women satirists are very important in that sense. But I do speak about issues that particularly affect women as well.
In India?
In India, yes.
In India.
Yes.
And you have been doing that for how many years?
I've been making my comic for almost 10 years now. I started in 2014, so it'll be 10 years in a couple of months.
And you are tackling also some more wider issues, like international issues?
Yeah.
Although it's not a purely feminist
Yeah, I speak on international issues when I see them. So, when Donald Trump was president, there were many opportunities for comics because that man is a comic. He's a cartoon. So, I had to comment on certain things that he would do. I will also, comment on what happened in Afghanistan, what's happening right now in Palestine. So, I also, when there are big international moments, I will comment on them. It's funny, I feel like I can comment on international issues much easier because of, fear of censorship back home. If I speak on international issues, it's easier for me to do that.
For instance, women education in Afghanistan could be a big subject because the neighboring countries, so many links between India and Afghanistan, so it can be a big issue.
Absolutely.
I guess you are making some work on that.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Are your comics, are your cartoons read in other countries? We were talking of Afghanistan, for example. Are you well known?
No, my audience is mostly in India, and it's a little over 50% female readers. But because of the work that I do, because it's so focused on Indian issues, that my audience is mainly Indian. It wouldn't make sense to people outside to follow me because of the kind of comics I make. But there are some comics that I make that will reach a very wide international audience. For example, I made a comic on Palestine recently, and that reached a bigger audience outside of my Indian audience as well.
And in India, there is this new project of the government called Women Reservation Bill, which looks quite positive, a good move, since about 1/3 of all candidates for assembly and general election would be women.
Yeah.
Candidates doesn't mean elected, of course.
Yes.
It's a good move. You think it's a good move?
It's a very important move. There have been a lot of women's groups that have been pushing for this for many, many years. And it's good that it has been passed. The only caveat is that it does not need to be implemented for a long time. Yeah. And also, there is not horizontal trans reservation. So trans women are not getting... are being included in it rather than getting their own reservation. So there are a couple of things that can be criticized about the move, especially the lack of implementation immediately. But overall, yes, 33% reservation is a good thing.
And what do you think of the census issues? In Bihar,
yes,
Nitish Kumar, the leader there, has made something totally new, which was a census for caste, which had not been done in India, if I am not wrong, since 1931.
Oh, it's been that long?
In the state. So they did it in India, and now there is a big issue in India saying why we don't do it nationwide.
Yeah.
And I seen Rahul Gandhi saying, well, we should have done it before. So I think it's becoming a big issue. Do you think it's a good move?
Yes. Caste census is very important because there are big misconceptions about who makes up our workforce, for example, who benefits from reservations, because reservations for caste are very important. And there is a lot of pushback against reservations, purely on caste. So it is important to have caste census because it's important to know who the people in this country are. There is a misconception that the bigger population is upper caste, but that's not true. The biggest population, we have overwhelmingly Bahujan people who form the population, who form the workforce, and who deserve reservations so that they can be leaders as well, because unfortunately most of our executive, our judiciary, legislature, all of them are by upper caste people.
Yeah.
By upper caste people, even though they have a very small.
Yes, it was up here in Bihar. It was a surprising thing. The upper caste, it was a few percent.
Yeah.
And they are holding the place.
And yeah, they have all the power.
Yeah.
So it's important so that we can have these conversations. Without having a census, we will not know.
Yes.
It will be difficult to put it in practice.
Yeah.
You can make a cartoon of that.
Yes, absolutely. Caste is one of the things that I want to talk about more as well. I keep reminding myself to keep talking about it, even if there is nothing in the news about it at that moment. It's a good reminder. I will think about it.
Yes.
And what is your thinking about the role of India in the world, considering its very vast population and the changes that have occurred on the international scene in many respects, particularly over the last few years?
I think, first, it is important to see that see the changes that have happened in India in the recent past as well. We are seeing a lot more censorship in the country of journalists, activists, dissenters, political cartoonists, satirists, everyone. So one of the things that I would wish to see from international in the international media especially is talking about the fact that there is an increased censorship happening in the country. But because India is a strategic partner to the West, there is no criticism of these things happening. It's not enough criticism happening. So I think India's strategic position globally is what is masking it from criticism, and hopefully that changes, because we're the world's largest democracy. We have the largest number of voters who come out in every election. So it needs to be addressed. And at World Forum for Democracy in Strasbourg, I didn't hear India's name enough, considering that we're in a World Forum for Democracy and India is the largest democracy. So we need to be talking about it a lot more, I think, on a global level as well.
Yeah, but being a cartoonist, I think it's a good, it demonstrates that India is a democracy. Because there are so many countries, just imagine the world where it is possible. There are not so many.
Yeah.
In many countries, it's impossible.
Yeah.
You will be blamed, but you will be in jail or whatever. If you do the same thing, I don't know about another Asian country, like China, for example. If you do that, I don't think it would be acceptable. So I think it's a demonstration that India is really, it's a vivid demonstration of India being a democracy, accepting that you can do your work and criticizing and addressing not especially the government, but social issues, political issues in general.
Yeah, I think someone at the panel, I think it was Teddy from Cartoonist Rights, there's a network called Cartoonist Rights, and he was saying that cartoonists and satirists are like the canary in the coal mine. They are the first, if the government starts attacking them, it's going to predict what's going to happen next. So we're the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. And I wish to, continue making comics. I want to keep doing this. I absolutely enjoy it.
We encourage you to.
I absolutely love making comics. So we have to make sure the democracy stays.
Yeah. Playing your role.
Do you know some French cartoonists?
I was sharing a panel with Patrick Kak, and there were a couple of other cartoonists. I'm terrible with names, but I spoke with someone from Charlie Hebdo this morning as well. Fantastic.
We are very acute. Sometimes they go a bit too far. Too far, you know.
Yeah.
But I think regarding Charlie Hebdo, sometimes, religion is a very touchy subject. It's getting, it was not like that long time, maybe 10 or 20 years ago. But these religion issues are getting more. It's more touchy now than before.
Yeah, I think now because everything is so easily available on the internet. That it, again, Patrick was talking about how you have your intended audience, like these are the people that you make your comic for, but because of the internet, it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyone can see it, which means that someone who wants to take offense to it can and will. So I think that the internet means that it can go outside your target audience and
not be understood.
And be understood incorrectly. Exactly.
Yes.
It's a delicate matter of perhaps. Yeah.
It is. You have to walk a very tight rope and be very careful because with the internet, once you put something up, it's there forever, right? So you have to make sure that the kind of stuff you're putting out is. I feel my rule of thumb is to not punch down, only punch up, which means I make fun of people who have more power than me.
Yeah.
And who are, who are more privileged than me. I am not going to make fun of people who are less privileged or have less power than me. So that's what I think of.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I'm making my comics. So that's something that I keep in mind.
Okay, well.
I think the right attitude is to address people who are power, but in a way which is not to discriminate and to the fact that having power expose people and they must accept that.
Absolutely.
And power, and I don't mean political power, but economic power, financial power. Yeah, all those people they are power, but they are vulnerable, and they must accept that. And if they don't accept that, it's a very bad move. Saying, "Well, I am above the line."
That is so absolutely true. And as I was saying before the interview started, that those who are afraid of being made fun of deserve to be made fun of even more. People who are in power need to accept that, like you said, they're exposed, and that if they can't be made fun of, if they don't want to be made fun of, they don't have that power.
It's even good for them to accept this because then their future will be more stable than just reacting instinctively and harshly.
Yeah, your ego cannot be fragile. If you have power, you need to have you need to have a thicker skin.
Tough skin.
Yeah, exactly.
The attitude not to be afraid of tackling powerful people. Because I thought the vertical is something, but you have to think of horizontal.
Yep.
And,
that's a very good imagery.
Yeah.
I like that.
People who are so vertical people, in many fields, political, financial. You look at the GAFAM, those people, it's incredible the power there.
Yeah.
Microsoft, Apple, those people.
Yeah.
So they must be attacked, They are multi-billionaires, they are tackling the world, we are going to save humanity, and like Elon Musk said, to save humanity.
They become crazy.
So,
exactly.
Well, doing that, they must be attacked. Say, well, look, who are you?
No, absolutely.
Cartoon can be done on that, Mars we are going on Mars. Okay.
Just go.
Triton might be better than Mars.
Just go. I don't know. Just stay on Mars. But no, that's great. The more power you have, the more you should be criticized.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah.
So in France, we are very good for that because it is a battlefield for, and when you are in power, you are really. I don't think they were protecting those people.
They are very exposed.
Yeah, very exposed
all the time.
Yes.
And on all occasions. Yeah.
But that's a good sign that.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you can make jokes about it, that means it's a democracy.
Yeah.
Okay, so your role is extremely important. So,
thank you.
So,
as a canary.
We wish you all the best.
To
continue on that direction and make all kinds of other people benefit from this acute analysis that you can make through cartoons.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for visiting.
Thank you so much.
Really pleasant to share some views with you who are in the same boat.
It's my honor. Thank you.
Thank you.